Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, and when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. Okay, so it seems that the buzzword du jour is holding companies. I've had quite a few calls over the last 2 to 3 weeks asking me about holding companies. And so I want to talk about this a little bit so that you get a better sense of what this is and what folks is asking for, okay? Because I know that, every now and again, somebody comes out with some program, you see some marketing and you hear, ooh, save on taxes. So then we want to go run and do it, all right? So let's talk about what is a holding company. So I got my notes over here because there's a lot of stuff I want to say about this and I really don't want to forget it, everything. So a holding company is like a parent company. Here, a holding company, you hear parent company, and this can be a corporation, it can be a limited partnership, it could be a limited liability company, but its sole purpose of existence is to own an interest in other businesses. It does not really produce any goods or services. It is just there simply for ownership. Parent companies can own other companies. It can own trademarks. It can own patents. It can own property. It can own real estate, stocks, and other assets. But it can own those things, but it generally does not produce anything, okay? That's what a holding company is. And the reason that, I've gotten people that have been asking me about holding companies is that they're looking at trying to save on taxes when really a holding company is more about liability protection. And it provides additional layers to protect the owners from loss, right? So if one of your subsidiaries, if it goes bankrupt, if something happens, someone sues or whatever, then the other parts of the parent family are protected, right? And so, but it will impact that parent company, but it will not necessarily impact the other companies in the whole parent in the whole family. So it's more of an asset protection strategy more than it is a tax protection strategy. Because depending on how it's structured, it would serve to limit exposure, limit the assets to exposure more so than, like I said, like a tax saving kind of thing. So the the other reason that a holding company exists is also to provide capital support to those to the companies in that family. So you might have a parent that holding company, that parent corporation, LLC, or limited partnership. They may be the one that takes out a loan, for instance, on behalf of one of the family members, if you will. Okay, and so just as an example, this is kind of what we're talking about, right? You've got the parent corporation here. You got the LLC number one over here. You might have another corporation over here, and then you got another LLC over here. So this parent corporation has owns or wholly or partly one of these companies, right? And so the most famous holding company is Berkshire Hathaway, right? Where everybody want to talk about Warren Buffett, because whenever people call me talking about these holding companies, the biggest example, the main example that people use is Warren Buffett, because Berkshire Hathaway owns lots of stuff, right? They own, and I got a list of them. They own assets in more than 100 public and private companies. That includes Dairy Queen, Clayton Homes, Duracell, Geico, Fruit of the Loom, some other stuff, right? they got, Warren Buffett got ownership everywhere, right? So, but I want to go back to because folks want to just start out with this whole, I want to set up a holding company and I want to go do this and that and the other. And I'm asking beginning questions like, have you sold anything yet? how much money have you made doing what you're doing? That kind of thing. So first of all, I want to basically issue some cautionary things, okay? Because people are doing their research and getting Google and YouTube educated. So I really hope that someone watches this video and it causes you to pump the brakes before you go jump off all willy-nilly. Because one of the things that I will also tell you is that a lot of times business owners, because they want to try to save money, will go to one of the many websites where you can create a company, and they go and create all these things, not really understanding all of the details. The devil is always in the details when it comes down to business structure. So number one, I want to tell you, don't confuse liability protection with tax savings. They're two completely different things, because what may provide you liability protection, it doesn't have anything to do with your taxes. I have people who live in high tax states and they're trying to not pay taxes in their state. Having a holding company in another state does not allow you to not pay taxes in your home state. That's not what a holding company does. So when you are reading and doing your research and, Google and YouTube, I want you to be aware of a few terms. Beware of the terms may, should, and possibly, because what happens is you go and read these articles and say, well, if you form your holding company in Wyoming, you may save on taxes. That doesn't mean that you will. If you're reading something that said it should do XYZ, that doesn't mean that it actually will, right? Possibly means that it possibly could happen and possibly not, because every situation is different. And so this is why you have to consult with attorneys and tax people from your state that are familiar with your state laws and requirements. Because when you are forming these companies, they all come with some level of compliance. And while you're busy trying to save on these taxes, you're not understanding the compliance costs that comes with having these different types of structures. And there are plenty of states that where it's an LLC, an S corp, or whatever, you got annual fees to pay whether that company makes money or not. Okay, so when I'm asking you about what kind of capital you have, what kind of money you have, you've got to have money to support all of this, this sophisticated business structure. Because see, if you want to look at Warren Buffett is one of the richest men in the world. So he's got money to support all of this compliance, right? He's got attorneys, he's got CPAs, he's got bookkeepers, he's got all of this staff that he is able to pay for, right, to help with the compliance costs and the tax filings and all of that. So this is why I'm issuing this, this cautionary video about, just doing your Google and YouTube research to say, okay, well, I'm going to form this holding company and I'm going to go sell t-shirts over here and I'm going to sell, go buy real estate with this one. I'm going to go buy real estate with that one. And you haven't done anything yet, because you've got to be able to understand and comply with and pay for the compliance costs behind these things. And yeah, consulting with an attorney is going to cost. Consulting with a CPA and tax professional, it's going to cost. Forming these entities is going to cost. So don't go jumping off into the holding company abyss just because you heard that it can save you on taxes, because that's not necessarily true. Tax savings is not the only consideration when it comes down to creating businesses. It's not. When you've got to start writing checks to states because, hey, you live here, you owe us. And if you are operating in other states, you still, wherever you're operating, you got to pay. So if you are not ready to do that, perhaps a holding company ain't for you right now. Because I don't think Warren Buffett started out with a holding company. I don't think when he woke up and he started in business, he decided, oh, I'm just going to have this holding company. I don't know. I wasn't there. Warren Buffett been in business a long time. But like I said, Warren Buffett can also pay the cost to be the boss. And if you are, and like seriously, if you are crying about what it costs to file one tax return, when you go sit here and you go and create this sophisticated business structure and you got all kinds of returns to file, don't cry, because it is going to cost. You are not going to be able to pay somebody $50 just to go and file this return just because you think it shouldn't cost that much. That ain't how it works. Because if you get incompetent people to prepare these taxes and set this stuff up, and if you're incompetent on your own and do this, the only person that is going to have to pay this cost is you. So I'm not saying that this is definitely the wrong decision for you. I'm not saying it's definitely the right decision for you. I'm saying that you need to go and invest in speaking with the professional that's in your state, that is familiar with your state laws. You need to hire an attorney if you're going to go and create these sophisticated business structures, because they're going to have to be in compliance with the law where you form as well as the law where you operate. So yeah, I got folks, asking me about, I want to form this holding company, and I'm telling you, pump the brakes before you go do that, to make sure you understand what it is you're getting yourself into. Okay, make sure, and that's just with any business structure, period. Before you go and form the LLC, before you go form the corporation, before you go form the S corp and all that other stuff, because when you go and you form these things on these different types of websites, they're making the assumption that you already know, that you know what you're getting yourself into. So they're not stopping you from doing anything. They're not saying if it's the right thing for you. If you want to do it, knock thyself out. That's what these websites are for. But you need to, I'm telling you, as a business owner, if you do not have the money to consult with a professional about these business structures and such, then you don't have the money to go form this business, because you've got to be able to pay those compliance costs. Okay? So I hope this gives you something to chew on, makes you pump the brakes a little bit before you go and do these things on your own, because the fact is that you are going to be the one that's going to be responsible for the compliance costs, for the penalties and interest if you get it wrong. Like there's just too many moving parts for you to make this decision on your own. So if you're thinking about forming a holding company and all these other branches and all this other sophisticated business structure stuff, go pay a business attorney for a consultation. Pay for a consultation with a CPA or an enrolled agent in your state that are familiar with those types of laws, okay? So like I said, I hope this gives you something to chew on. Thank you so much for tuning into Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, and you can come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right, have a great day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.